Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. And, of course, it's Tuesday, so we're going to be bringing you our Monday Night Football recap, and then we're going to dive into week number 2. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffman. Right there, my co-host, Mr. G.J. Hopkins, and from the Daily Blitz.blog, our good friend and brother, Christian Simpson. We got a lot of talks about today here on the show. So we're going to get right into it. But, gentlemen, happy Tuesday. How are you? How was week number 1 in the National Football League?
No, I'm doing good. No, it was fun. I mean, it was entertaining. It was everything you anticipated it to be.
Yeah, for me, it's just good to have football back. And the game like Sunday night kind of reminded you why the NFL is the NFL and why it's, the America's sport, why leapfrog baseball is the number 1 sport in this country. Because you just watch 2 football teams just put up an absolute clinic and just a masterclass in football. And also, I need to apologize to the Buffalo Bills. If you watch any of these shows, I'm a pretty big Buffalo Bills fan. It's one of the teams that I root for fairly regularly. I usually pick them to win the Super Bowl. I thought they were cooked in that game. And Josh Allen was like, not on this day. I'm bringing us back and we're going to win. But, yeah, it's been – I know you guys don't play fantasy. Actually, TJ jumped on the bandwagon this season. But I won, majority of my matchups. So I'm feeling good about this so far, man. Let's go.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he backstabbed me. No, bastard.
TJ.
Week one is week one. There's 16 more to go.
And for a lot of teams that may had the Colts, right? Let's see you do it again, right?
Right.
Let's talk about Monday Night Football. Obviously, Bear fans not happy with the outcome and not happy with the way this game unfolded as the Minnesota Vikings come back with 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to beat the Chicago Bears 27-24. Just looking at some stats here, J.J. McCarthy was really rough and rocky in the first half, but he really came alive there in that fourth quarter. 13 of 20, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I think he threw a pick 6 in this game as well. And then J.J. McCarthy had the lone rushing touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson had receiving touchdowns, and they both had exactly 44 yards receiving in this football game. And then kind of a mixed bag here for Caleb Williams, 21 of 35, 210 yards and a touchdown. He also had the lone receiving touchdown for the Chicago Bears. And then DJ Moore, leading receiver for the Chicago Bears. And let's see here. And Nashawn Wright had the pick 6 in this game that took that to the house. But yeah, not the outcome that you're looking for if you're a Chicago Bears fan. But what did we see in this game?
I saw the Bears kind of reverting back to old ways, playing well in the first half and then not coming out with that same intensity in the second half. And I always say football is a game where who makes the adjustments, the key adjustments at the half. And that was Minnesota. They found ways to get Justin Jefferson the ball. And, I'm talking to one of my friends who's a diehard Minnesota fan. And I'm telling her, listen, she's like, nah, we need to throw the ball. I'm like, no, run the ball. That's going to help open up the passing game.
And I think we also saw kind of why Kevin O'Connell is one of these premier coaches in the NFL. I also would have really liked the Bears to kick a field goal instead of going for it on 4th down. I think it was in the second quarter that would have put the Bears up a touchdown. They don't convert the 4th down. And, they don't get points on that possession. I would have. And then, the end of that quarter stuff, or the end of the half, if you let Minnesota get a field goal in the final, what was it, like 30 seconds or so left in a half, or 28, something like that. It just can't happen.
It can't. Like, people forget that. While yes, this was JJ McCarthy's first game as a pro, JJ McCarthy's not a rookie. Like, he was a rookie in the sense of, like, yeah, it's his first game, but he spent a year learning this system. Like, if the Vikings didn't feel comfortable with putting JJ McCarthy out there, they don't let Sam Darnold walk out the door. He spent a year just watching, learning, and fine tuning things. So for everybody to be like to try to try to trash Caleb Williams as he lost his game, JJ McCarthy's system hasn't changed. He's been there the entire time. This is Caleb Williams' third offense, second or third offense. Third offense, yeah. Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown, yeah. This is his third offense in 18 games.
And I think this is also one of those scenarios where I know the defense got a pick six, but like, I mean, if you score 27 points or 24 points, you should win that game.
You should
like,
win.
And then you go into the fourth quarter. I mean, you're up. I think it was 17 to basically nothing or 3 in the fourth quarter, and you give up 21 virtually unanswered points. I know there was a Bears touchdown in there somewhere, but you give it the points, and then you let Minnesota because they also let Minnesota kind of hang around. Like, they should have gone for the jugular early in this game and really put Minnesota out in their misery, and they just didn't do that.
I'm glad you said that, David, because the one thing that people always tend to forget is, well, I ain't gonna say forget, but like everybody, like what gets lost in the shuffle is obviously, like, officials make plays, they make calls that are extremely questionable, but people don't want to use that as an excuse because they're like, oh, the offense looked terrible, this, that, and the third. They were going for the jugular when Darnell Wright got called for one of the worst holding calls I've ever seen. And like and for a lot of people, it's the first game of the season for a lot of people. If that's a holding call, I sent it to the group chat.
That's right. It was basically a pancake block, and that's legal.
If that's a hold, call it consistently. I want to see that. I want to see that call.
Because I didn't look like he held him. It looked like the defender lost his balance and slipped and fell, and then the offensive lineman just covered him up. Like, that's not illegal.
And they're like, well, he pulled him down by the front of his jersey, and then they show a different angle, and it's like, no, he didn't. You're justifying your bad call. And David, you bring this up all the time. Technology is at the point where the NFL office can call in and be like, hey, you fucked up, pick that flag up. That is not a hold. Because if you don't call that, that's 1st and 10 on the Vikings 12. And what happens, and whatever happens after that happens after that. But that holding call literally was the first domino to fall, because after that Caleb Williams gets an intentional grounding call. They get more yards back to make it a manageable field goal, and then Cairo Santos pushes the 50-yard field goal. Like he missed the 50-yard field goal, but that's where it started. The Vikings receivers they had 2 phantom DPI calls. They slipped. All of a sudden, like, that's DPI on the Bears. Like the second one to on Tyreek Stevenson literally led to the Aaron Jones touchdown. So there was 4 or 5 penalties on the Bears where it's like, what are you seeing here? What are you seeing that we aren't seeing?
I've said for a long time, this is, other stuff, but then we can move on from but I've said, like, that rule in the XFL where you get like 1 super challenge, you can literally challenge 1 call throughout a game. They should bring that into the National Football League. Like, if you don't think a penalty is a hold, you get 1 of those per game. I think that should be an NFL rule. And I know the NFL has their challenges, but like, this was like a different animal. Like if you could like directly challenge any foul call, that should be in the NFL.
Because like it was, and they were kind of onto something. They were onto something when they say you can challenge pass interference, and then they
But
got rid of
they
that,
scrapped that real
and
easy, real quick.
they scrapped that after a year because it's
1
like,
year.
well, it's a judgment call, but it's like, no, it's not. It's rules are rules for a reason. Like just because you feel like it's pass interference doesn't mean it is pass interference. Just because you feel like it's a hold doesn't mean it is a hold. And it's like, first off, shout out to JJ McCarthy. Hey, you did what you did. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna like,
I mean, from him having a pretty rough first half to kind of have that performance that he had in the fourth quarter, to have that resilience and that resolve to continue plugging away and like at some point you gotta be like, I'm gonna get this. I'm too talented for this. It's kind of like when if you're like you play basketball at all and you're like a shooter, like you're like, I'm too good of a shooter to keep missing all these shots. Like eventually this is gonna work. This is gonna click for me, and it just did in the fourth quarter for the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy.
like it's crazy because like now you got all the, I call this overreaction Monday. Like it's the first game of the season. You got Bears fans, like you see what Justin Fields did yesterday. I saw, yeah, he had a good game. He still lost.
Yeah.
Like Mitch Trubisky, like somebody like from Barstool was like, Mitch Trubisky makes this throw. It's like if Mitch could make this throw, guess what? He'd still be wearing a Bears
It'd still be in
uniform.
Chicago. We wouldn't be
Like
on our third quarterback at this
like
point.
Tyson, like we should start Tyson Bagent. If Tyson Bagent was a starter, guess what? He'd be a starter.
Let's talk about the Bears just real quick. What did we like out of the Bears? What did what did we like out of the Bears that we saw on Monday night that they can take with them moving forward?
Like, well,
Christian.
outside of up everything up until that phantom holding call was fine. Like obviously, they're talking about some like DeAndre Swift was let go after 1 year under Ben Johnson, like, and we saw why. It's like, dude, the Vikings were the number 2 run defense a year ago. That's a hard team to run on. So you're taking whatever the run game gave you yesterday. You have to take that with a grain of salt because every team they play going forward isn't going to be good at stopping the run like the Vikings are.
Not to mention, like the Vikings defense as a whole is not an easy unit to go up against in your first week of the end. Like they with Brian Flores there, he throws some really exotic blick passes that catch a lot of people off guard.
Yeah,
like,
he really does because he will make it seem like he's doing one thing and then he's going to completely drop out of that to confuse the quarterback. We call that pre-snap adjustments and post-snap decisions. So yeah, he may look like he's bringing up a linebacker through the B gap, and then he drops him back in coverage, and that just completely confuses the quarterback, and then that allows everyone else to get home, whether it's edge rushers or you send that delayed blitz that I'm always talking about, which is normally ran by a safety or a corner, preferably the slot corner.
So I think we'll see what ends up happening with these two franchises as we move into week number 2. Before we close the chapter into week number 1, let's give out our game balls. I don't have my football with me right now. I'm not sure where it is in my apartment. It's somewhere in here. I just haven't had a chance to really look for it. I'm going to go first. I got 2 game balls to give out. I'm going to first start with Justin Herbert, 25 of 34, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He looked awesome in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's one of those games where like you expected Kansas City to come back and eventually win that game. But Justin Herbert and that Jim Harbaugh offense, I mean, maybe they're going to be a gunslinging team next to see. Maybe this is going to be Justin Herbert all year long, where he's just going to be throwing it like crazy. And then I'm going swinging into Jacksonville. I'm going to Travis Etienne, 16 carries for 143 yards. He was kind of one of those guys that was like an afterthought. He thought Tank Bigsby had taken this job from Travis Etienne. No, Travis Etienne is still RB1 and Tank Bigsby the very next day to the Philadelphia Eagles. Huge shout out to Travis Etienne, just the way to stay motivated with it. TJ.
My game ball. Oh, damn, it's hard not to give it to JJ McCarthy. I like that because that was tough. That was tough. Like you said, to go through that, to throw that pick 6. and then to just bounce back that way, like yeah, that was tough.
Christian.
I'm giving it to Daniel Jones. 22 of 29, 272 yards passing. He accounted for 3 touchdowns. I said it on the prime yesterday, David. He's in a better situation now. Either you can handle the market that is New York City or you can't. And now he's in Indianapolis, way smaller of a market. And most importantly, he just has to focus on playing football, not worrying about the outside noise. What's the media saying about me? Am I going to be put on the back page? I think this is an ideal situation for him.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I figured one of you guys would mention Josh Allen, but I got to give a game ball out to Josh Allen too. I mean, the dude was he put out a virtuoso performance against the Baltimore Ravens, a game that they absolutely had no business winning and still won. Thanks to kind of Derrick Henry, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go to week number 2, and let's start with Thursday night football. We got 2 teams coming off an impressive week number 1 victory with the Washington Commanders beating the New York Giants, Christians, New York Giants, going into Lambeau and taking on those Green Bay Packers, fresh off dismantling the Detroit Lions in Lambeau 2 games in a row. Last time these 2 teams played 2 years ago. Christian, do you remember who won this bout 2 years ago?
I think it was Washington.
Yes, Washington did win that game 23-20. How do you think 2025 shakes out, Christian?
David?
Oh, let's go.
Let's go right off the gate again, baby.
Yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Shameless plug number 1, baby.
Look, Washington came out firing on all cylinders. They won their scrimmage against the Giants on Sunday. They're going to be tough. I mean, they're going to be tough. When they're balanced and everything is clicking on all cylinders on both sides of the ball, they're going to be a tough out. And I think people tend to forget, look, this is a team that was a game away from representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. Yeah, they ran into a way better and more formidable of an opponent in the Eagles. But nah, man, I think Jalen's going to be great. They put the weapons around him. Then you look at Green Bay. That's the best I've seen them play in God knows how long. I mean, the energy that they had on both sides of the ball. And I've been calling for the Packers to use Josh Jacobs a whole lot more than what they had. You brought him in here for a reason, so you might as well get what you can out of him. But defensively, I mean, they were active, they were quick, they were physical, and it's just crazy how one guy can come in and make all of the difference. Look how everyone fed off Micah Parsons' energy. I previewed this one an hour before kickoff on Thursday. Be on the lookout.
So the starting quarterbacks for these 2 franchises 3 years ago, Aaron Rodgers, obviously for the Green Bay Packers. Does anybody have a guess who the starting quarterback was for the Washington Commanders in October of 2022?
I got nothing.
It's not Sam Howell. Tyler Sixpack Heineken was the starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders as he navigated this team to the victory over the Green Bay Packers. I do not think that's going to be the result this time around. I'm taking Green Bay. They look special on defense, and I think their offense is going to continue to get a little bit better, a little bit more healthy. And Jaden Reed was banged up a little bit this offseason. As he gets more involved in like practices and stuff, I think he's going to become even more dynamic. I'm going Commanders. I'm going Packers. And this game's in Lambeau. I expect those Packer cheeseheads to show up in force. Packers. TJ.
I'm gonna go Green Bay. I think Michael Parsons plays a lot more in this game.
Moving on from there, we're swinging into Sunday afternoon football, and we're swinging into the AFC. And we got the Battle of the Cats going on in Cincinnati as we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in Bear Brown Stadium. I think that's what the Cincinnati Bengals play at. Or maybe not it's called that anymore, but Cincinnati. Yeah, Paul Brown. Thank you. They're Bear Brown. Cincinnati Bengals coming off beating the Cleveland Browns, their in-state rival, and Jacksonville Jaguars getting over on the Carolina Panthers in the first Battle of the Cats this season. Last time these 2 teams played, Cincinnati got the advantage 34-31 2 years ago. Man, a bunch of people threw passes for the Bengals in this game 2 years ago. Oh, you know what? That's that game where Trevor Lawrence got hurt and he couldn't finish the game. And then CJ Beathard came in and lost that game in overtime. Anyways, I'm going to take the Jaguars, reluctantly take the Jaguars. When I know the Cleveland Browns have a tough defense, and that's why Cincinnati kind of struggled in that game. But Jacksonville was able to get after the quarterback. They were able to get after Bryce Young in that first game of the season against the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to do something similar to that against Cincinnati this week. And I know the secondary of Jacksonville is not very good, and Jamar Chase should have a fantastic game. But I'm going to take the Jags. Christian.
I'm going to go against you. I am going to take the
Bengals.
Bengals. Yeah, of course I am. Would I be me if I didn't? Anyway, I'm going to take the Bengals for the reason you just said. This Jacksonville secondary isn't all that great. And you're going up against arguably the best duo of wide receivers in the National Football League. You got Jamar Chase on one end, and you also got to worry about T. Higgins on the other side.
And Chase Brown, too.
Yeah. But I do think this game is going to be a lot closer than what a lot of people anticipated to be. This isn't going to be a blowout. The Bengals are going to have to come out and earn this game.
TJ.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals too. I just trust Joe Burrow. Obviously, you trust Joe Burrow more than you trust Trevor Lawrence. I think this is gonna be a game of which defense can contain the most, which defense can make a play.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Moving on into the NFC, and we got two divisional rivals going head-to-head, back-to-back. First starting with the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Both these teams fresh off taking L's in week number 1. Both of them against division rivals and division foes. Did I spell Giants wrong? It looks weird. Anyways, Giants obviously losing to the Commanders and the Cowboys losing to the Philadelphia Eagles. TJ, how do you think this game shakes out? One of these teams is going to get out the schneid?
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. Like nothing about the Giants made me positive about how they looked on the field. Again, like that was a winnable game for them. It was 14-6 for a good long while, and they couldn't. It's almost like they couldn't get out of their own way offensively. And Brian Daboll has not announced a starter for this game. So I really don't know what to expect from the Giants going into this game. Obviously, it's going to be tough because it's another in division game. So, but I'm gonna go with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they're gonna start Russell Wilson probably. I'm also gonna take the Dallas Cowboys. I just have a little more faith, obviously, in Dak Prescott than whatever's gonna be going on with the situation in the Giants quarterback room. But let's not play around here. I mean, Dallas played pretty well against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they put themselves in a position to win that game. It just didn't work out that way because Dak Prescott actually played a pretty good game, and he looked healthier than he looked most of last season. So it's good to see Dak Prescott healthy. I know CeeDee Lamb didn't really do him any favors, but I think the Cowboys bounce back and they get this at the Giants. And this game's in Jerry World, so give me the Cowboys. Christian.
The Giants suck. Next game.
Moving on to the NFC North now. We got the Chicago Bears who are licking their wounds after getting bounced in Monday Night Football, going into Detroit and taking on the Lions, who are also licking their wounds after getting absolutely dismantled at the hands of the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. Christian, Bears, Lions, both these teams need a win. Who gets it?
Yeah, this is definitely a must-win for both teams, and I really don't like using that term so early on, but you win, you're at 500. You lose, you're in an 0-2 hole. Man, this can go either way. But I'm taking the Lions in this one. I just think the way they were embarrassed, they're out to come out and prove something. And I'm sure they've heard all the rumblings of y'all need Ben Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Your offense is nothing without Ben Johnson. Yeah, I think they're going to come out and prove something.
Yeah, Ben Johnson returning into, Ford Field, the home of the Detroit Lions. But with narrative and all, I just think the Detroit Lions are still a better football team on paper than the Chicago Bears are right this second. So, yeah, I think the Lions get this one. And I think the Bears falling in 0-2 hole. I mean, you could have predicted that would happen, given the fact that they were going up against two teams that won over 15 games last season or 14 games or whatever. I mean, people expect, let's not pretend like Minnesota wasn't a good football team last year and isn't still a good football team. Losing to the Lions and the Vikings in back-to-back weeks is no reason for Bear fans to hang their head that the season's over. Those are good football teams you're potentially losing to. Super Bowl potentially playing in the Super Bowl teams. Give me the Lions though. TJ.
I'm gonna go with the Bears.
Oh, home cooking, baby.
Nah, like you say, but to your point, they were yeah, losing to the Lions and the Vikings isn't the end of the world. It's not the sky is falling out of the yeah, the Lions are also a good team. Their home opener, obviously gonna be tough in division. They know Ben Johnson. They know what he's gonna try to do. That being said, I saw an interesting tidbit on Jared Goff, and I don't know if y'all saw it. Obviously under Sean McVay and Ben Johnson, Jared Goff was his record is phenomenal, right? Well, team's record is phenomenal. Jared Goff on the play callers not named Ben Johnson and Sean McVay. His teams are 0-19-1. He's had 5 play callers in his career. Under the other 3, he's his teams are 0-19-1.
But wasn't he starting quarterback of that Jeff Fisher team that finished 500? How can that be? That number doesn't sound right.
Look it up.
So he's never won a game with anyone else as the offensive coordinator besides Sean McVay and Ben Johnson. That can't be that.
They say it's. I'm not just making it up. They said.
No, I'm sure you're not, but it doesn't sound right. But
0-19-1.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up on my free time. Moving on from there, we got a rematch, 25th anniversary actually of Super Bowl. I don't even know what the number is. So I guess 60 minus 25 is 35. So Super Bowl anniversary, a 25th anniversary of Super Bowl 35. Tennessee Titans and the Los Angeles Rams. Probably one of these teams is for sure not going to the Super Bowl this season. But it will be Cam Ward making his second NFL start. There were stuff out of him in his first game of the season I liked. I think the Titans as a roster as a whole, it's kind of has a lot of work that needs to be done. Going up against the Los Angeles Rams. This game is in Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Christian, who do you got winning this matchup? Rams, Titans.
I like the Rams, but one thing I have to say, they gave Denver all they could handle on Sunday. I mean, they made life difficult, and let's see if that defense can keep it up.
Well, if you do remember from last season, I mean, in terms of I think yards allowed, the Tennessee Titans defense was in the top 5 last year.
Tennessee was pretty good, and I said it yesterday on the Prime. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the most underrated defenders in the National Football League. I think he's going to have a huge impact in this game.
They called a horrible unnecessary roughness call on him towards the very end of that Denver game that really kind of iced this game for the Denver Broncos. It was a terrible call, absolutely abysmal.
I agree, but nowadays you can't breathe on a quarterback. Y'all got Tom Brady.
I don't even think it was the quarterback. I think it was the running back that had the football. I think it was or something like that.
Yeah, you might be right, but yeah, I like the Rams.
I'm also taking the Rams. This defense, especially that front seven for the Los Angeles Rams, is special. We saw a lot of that going up against the Houston Texans this most recent weekend. So yeah, Rams. TJ.
I'm also going the Rams. Sweep it.
Last time, this fun fact, last time these two teams played 4 years ago, Tennessee won that game 28-16. And Matthew Stafford, Ryan Tannehill, respective quarterbacks for his two franchises. Moving on from there, we're going to swing into the AFC East as we got the Patriots and the Dolphins going head to head. Dolphins had the worst performance in the National Football League in week number 1. And Patriots, obviously, they fell to the Las Vegas Raiders. And now they're looking to get off the schneid. Both these teams looking to get off the schneid. The Dolphins, a lot of conversation about the future of that franchise and the future of some of the players on that football team. What do you think happens here in week number 2? Christian?
I'm taking New England because I just did not like what I saw from Miami the other day. There was no confidence. They gave up defensively, not making tackles, a lack of discipline across the board, no gap integrity, not letting Daniel Jones do whatever he wanted. They made Daniel Jones look like the second coming of Joe Montana. Call it what you want. New England, they let an opportunity slip in front of them. They could have won that game. Their defense played really well. It was their offense, but I think their offense gets right on Sunday. I'm taking the Patriots.
I'm also taking New England Patriots. The Dolphins are on the brink of collapse, I think. New England. I like some of the stuff. I saw out of the New England Patriots in week number 1. Hopefully, they can keep that rolling. TJ.
If the Dolphins don't win this game, hey man, oh my God, it's gonna get. I mean, it's already ugly. It's gonna get uglier fast. That being said, give me the Patriots because I want to see some chaos.
I also like some chaos. Moving on to the NFC, we got the New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers locking up. Breaking news yesterday, George Kittle is going to miss multiple weeks. He's now on the IR for the San Francisco 49ers. Also, Brock Purdy is going to be a potentially game-time decision for this matchup against the New Orleans Saints. I'm getting honest with you. I'm not sure they need Brock Purdy to play to win this game. But just another weapon that won't be available for whoever's playing quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, all gone from that offense from a year ago. In New Orleans, I mean, I saw some decent stuff out of Spencer Rattler. It's just clear that this team just doesn't have talent and is really a devoid of talent around that football team. Last time these two teams played 2 years ago in a absolute barn burner, 13-0 beat down the 49ers winning over the New Orleans Saints. Starting quarterbacks, Andy Dalton and Taysom Hill for the Saints and Jimmy G for the San Francisco 49ers. TJ, what happens in 2025?
Niners Saints. Brock Purdy's not playing. Who's starting
Mac
this game?
Jones. Mac Jones is their backup.
So yeah, they should win this game. I don't even know why I hesitated. This should be the Niners through and through.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the San Francisco 49ers. I just think, injuries aside, I think that they still have enough to beat the New Orleans Saints. I just think there's no talent on that football team right now. It's a tough scenario. Christian. Moving on from there, we're back in the AFC. We're back in the AFC East. We got the Buffalo Bills coming off what was probably the best, what will end up being the best game of the football season. Kind of a bummer that maybe we're going to have the best game of the year in the first week of the season. Going into MetLife Stadium, close to where Christian currently is, and taking on the New York Jets, who played really well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just came up short in that game, and Justin Fields played really well in his debut as a New York Jet. Christian, Bills, Jets, how do you think this shakes out?
I think this is a trap game for Buffalo because the Jets always seem to play them tough in East Rutherford, right? TJ knows that I said this yesterday. Sunday was the best I've seen the Jets look in quite some time. They just played with a new energy. I mean, Justin Fields looked good. He was connecting with Garrett, last name Wilson. They were running the ball. Yeah, Russ don't get that no more. Nah, he don't. Sorry. they were running the ball with Brees Hall, and then the defense, they held their own for the most part. Now they need to up that effort because the key to limiting Josh Allen is to pressure him up the middle and keep him in the pocket. Because when you bring the pressure and you contain him and you keep him in the pocket, he's liable to make a mistake sooner or later. But my biggest takeaway in that game on Sunday in Orchard Park was Keon Coleman has now earned the trust of Josh Allen. And this is why I kept telling people they're not going to go out and either like acquire a guy like a Terry McLaurin or get another big name wide receiver because they feel Keon Coleman is going to be that guy. You didn't draft him for nothing.
And I think just to interrupt you for just a second. Yeah, because I had like a lot of question marks about that 2-point conversion play that they basically threw that fade route to Keon Coleman. I think it shows that Josh Allen has all the faith in him and his development, where that was the play that they ran in that scenario, and one that they had to have. Obviously, they didn't convert it, but it shows a lot of confidence in your young player when like this is the play we're running, this is the play we're running it for. We have faith that he's going to get this.
Yeah, but I think this is going to be close. These games always seem to be close at MetLife, and I think the Bills come out on top. The Jets lose another close one.
To Christian's point, the last 3 times that these teams have played in New York, or I guess in New Jersey, technically.
New Jersey.
Yeah. So the margin of victory, 3 points, 6 points. Actually, a game that the Jets won in overtime in that game where Aaron Rodgers got hurt on the first series 2 years ago. And then the next year after that, they had a 3-point game where the Jets won that game too. So the Jets actually have won 2 of the last 3 catch-ups against Buffalo in East Rutherford. And the margin of victory is basically a wash between these 2 football teams. The matchup right before that, though, not as good or as close. 45-17 in 2021. I'm going to take the Bills. I actually don't think this will be close. I think Buffalo is going to steamroll the New York Jets and kind of be like, hey, we're the best team in the AFC. TJ.
Mm-hmm. No, respectfully, like obviously, like if you're the Jets, tough way to lose. Tough way to lose week 1. It was just a hell of a play by Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
This is one of right. This is one of those. I don't want to call it a measuring game, like a measuring stick game, but it kind of is that.
I think it for sure is. If you're the Jets, I mean, how you play in this game will determine a lot of what happens with your season. Like if you're competitive and like that could take you a long way.
Right. And you look at it like, all right, we hung up 32 points on the Steelers. Right. Obviously, the Steelers aren't Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo just because like they're the better team. They're the better team. Like something's going to go their way this game. Whether it's a play, whether it's a call, whether it's a coaching decision, this, that, and the third. I could wholeheartedly see like something happening like what happened with Buffalo in week 1. Right. I can wholeheartedly see the Jets getting the lead and then they do something that doesn't help them keep like they stop doing whatever got them the lead. Right. Like let's just say like let's just say like they start the game out playing cover 2 with a spy and they're containing Josh Allen to the best of their abilities and he's struggling. And they get up 14. Then all of a sudden you up 14. Well, let's go prevent defense for a little bit, and then let's go man. Then they get back in the game and they lose. Like some shit like that would happen. Like some shit like that would happen in this game. I'm going Buffalo. Like obviously, like if you're the Jets, especially if you're Justin Fields, I wholeheartedly think like if you have 2 games back to back where you look great. Well, I ain't gonna say great. You look really good, but you lose. I think people can live with that. So like
Not to
again,
mention,
like
I mean, I might not mention the same conversation that I had at the beginning of the show, but talking about the Bears. I mean, losing to the Steelers and Buffalo in back-to-back weeks is not something to hang your head on. Those two teams played in the playoffs last year, and Buffalo is a perennial Super Bowl favorite. And for a Jets team that won 4 games last season, for you to lose 2 games to teams that made the playoffs, that makes complete sense. So.
yeah.
Moving on from there, we got another rematch of a Super Bowl over a decade old. We got the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers going head to head. This game is in whatever they want to call Heinz Field now. There in Pittsburgh. Last time these two teams played was actually 2 years ago. And Christian, do you remember who won that game 2 years ago? Pittsburgh Steelers Seahawks. This game was in Seattle.
The Steelers won because that was another winning season for Mike Tomlin.
It was. It was the final week of the regular season. Pittsburgh won this game 30-23, and they move into 9-7. Actually, there may be one more game actually there, but this did guaranteed a winning season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quarterbacks for these two teams: Mason Rudolph for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Geno Smith for the Seahawks. This is an interesting matchup. Seattle coming off that defeat to the hands of the San Francisco 49ers, a game that they were absolutely in all the way down to the end. And then Pittsburgh, obviously, they had to go tooth and nail with the New York Jets. This is going to be a lot. I think this game for these two teams is really going to say a lot about what they're going to be this season. Like, if you're Pittsburgh and you play well against Seattle, I think that bodes well for you. And the same side for Seattle. I don't know. I guess I'll reluctantly take Pittsburgh. This feels like a coin toss. Like, I think either of these teams, I wouldn't be surprised at all if like the Seahawks win this game, but I'll take the Steelers. TJ.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers too. I think I want to see what DK does against his old team, because like I don't even think things ended bad for him there. Like, I could be wrong. Like, it's been so long since that went down. I just want to see what he like. I just want to see what he does against his old team. Like him and Witherspoon, him and Tariq Woolen. Like, that's gonna be fun to watch, because I guarantee you they had some battles in practice. That's gonna be fun to watch come Sunday.
Christian.
I do like the Steelers in this one, but I need to see what type of intensity they're going to come with defensively, because they were soft against the Jets on Sunday. Yeah, I think this is going to be a long day for Sam Darnold, like a long day. And this is a game DK Metcalf has had circled on his calendar, playing his former team. Yeah, I think he's going to go off.
Moving on from there, we go swinging into staying sort of in the AFC North. We got the Cleveland Browns going into Baltimore and taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, both these teams are licking their wounds just a little bit. Both these teams lost winnable games in week number 1. The Browns, if their kicker just makes an extra point or a field goal, and the decision to bench what is that guy? Dustin Hopkins by the Browns, and sending out the rookie to try to kick that game-winning kick that he ended up pulling to the left or to the right. I don't remember which way he pulled it, but he just didn't make it. And then the Ravens, obviously, we kind of talked about letting the Buffalo Bills come back and win that game. This is going to be my lock of the week. Baltimore. I had lost one of my locks of the week to the Dolphins last week, so I only got one now. But Ravens, lock of the week. They're just a better football team than the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Ravens. And I still think the Browns are going to really struggle to run the football like they did in week number 1. TJ.
Come on, man, give me the Ravens. We talk about coaches on the hot seat and whatnot and everything. Kevin Stefanski, he's losing that grace period that he got. They're like, oh, this is a 2-time coach of the year. So, like, literally, so what? Um, he he's completely mismanaged this whole fiasco, this whole thing. Obviously, like Joe Flacco last week, one of those interceptions wasn't his fault.
Two of them.
Uh,
Neither of them were his fault.
okay, I only saw one. I only
I
saw
mean,
one.
they were literally the exact same. Like, the wide
They were the
receiver,
same thing.
let it hit his hands and like should have caught it. It bounces up into the air. It becomes a pick. Both
Okay,
interceptions were not his
so
fault.
both interceptions weren't Joe Flacco's fault.
And Joe Flacco, actually, you look at his numbers and completion percentage, played actually fairly well in this game. His wide receivers and that offensive line just didn't do him any favors whatsoever.
Whatsoever. So I'm going with the Ravens. Like honestly, like if you're Baltimore, like Chicago, hey, one got away. One got away that shouldn't have gotten away. You had that game. You had it. Like I'm going Baltimore. I think it's gonna be a long day. I mean, I want to be wrong. Like obviously, the AFC North games tend to be competitive, even when the Browns are terrible. Those games still find a way somehow to be competitive. I'm going Baltimore, but I would not be surprised one iota if it's belt to ass almost immediately.
I think it will be. I think the Ravens are going to beat down Cleveland. Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to two teams that were kind of one of the teams for sure that were kind of surprised is undefeated at this point in the season. The Indianapolis Colts welcome in the Denver Broncos into the house that Peyton Manning built in the Peyton Manning Bowl. Last time these two teams played was actually last season in the first Peyton Manning Bowl, and that game was won by the Denver Broncos 31-13. This is like towards the very end of the season last year. Christian, who's winning 2025 in the second version of the Peyton Manning Bowl?
David.
Oh, really? Let's go.
Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Shameless plug number 2, baby.
Both their week ones. I'm talking Denver and Indianapolis. They couldn't have gone any more opposite. Like Denver struggled with Tennessee, and Indianapolis just had their way with Miami. I mean, weren't they up 33-0 at one point, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. The Dolphins didn't score their first touchdown.
Yeah.
So like super crazy time.
Yeah, what carried Denver to their win was their defense. And
as what carried them for a majority of last season as well.
Bingo. And, with Indianapolis on Sunday, like I said, Daniel Jones, he can just focus on playing football now. He's in a smaller market, but you also knew this was a game that the Colts wanted. It was their first game since Jim Irsay died. And, I mean, they came out and put on a hell of a performance. It's a couple things I'm watching. One, I want to see how this Denver defense, how they're going to attempt to stop Jonathan Taylor. And you know my rule. You better have game if you got 2 first names, and he does. And I want to see if Daniel Jones can do it again. Okay. You did it.
Mm-hmm.
You look good on Sunday against Miami. Now do it against one of the more defenses in the National Football League. I preview this one tomorrow. Be on the lookout for it.
DJ.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Colts are going to be able to repeat the performance that they had against the Miami Dolphins. I just think that the Denver Broncos are a much more complete team than the Miami Dolphins are. So I'll take the Broncos. I think this is an easy pick.
I also don't think what's his name, Bo Nix is gonna struggle to the degree that he did against the Titans. Like,
I agree with you on that.
I don't see that.
To the NFC now, we got the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Carolina Panthers, and the last time these two teams played was actually last season. Carolina actually got the victory here, one of their 4 wins last season, 36-30. Starting quarterbacks for these two football teams, Bryce Young, Kyler Murray, same 2 quarterbacks will be locking up in 2025. And I think the opposite. I don't think the result is going to be the same. I think this game may be low scoring, but I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals. I just think that they're a more talented football team from top to end. I didn't see anything out of Carolina in week number 1 that really instilled any kind of faith in that team being moving forward. Kind of going up against a pretty weak secondary in the Jacksonville Jaguars and really not able to get it going on offense for Bryce Young in that offense. And I know the defense looked better with Chasey Horn having a crazy pick in that game. But give me the Cardinals. Christian.
I'm with you. I like Arizona. And you pretty much summed it up. I don't think nothing else really needs to be said. And TJ's picking the Cardinals too next game.
Mm-hmm.
To the barn burner that I cannot believe is not on prime time. I know TJ argues that because it's in the 425 slot, or that's and it's Fox's or CBS's game of the week, and it'll have Tony Romo or Tom Brady. It's not prime time. It's just not. But the fact that they didn't put this on Sunday night is just crazy to me. But a rematch of the last 3 Super Bowls. Kansas City and Philadelphia are going up head-to-head. This one is in Arrowhead. In big games, Eagles, Chiefs split the matchup. Jalen Hurts, MVP last season. Patrick Mahomes, MVP 2 years ago. Xavier Worthy not going to play in this game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Somebody's have to step up in the passing game. And Christian, I think I know what's coming.
Come on, David. Let's wrap this up. You ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Shameless plug number 3, baby.
Hey, I'll be completely honest with the both of you guys. I wasn't impressed with either team in week 1. Jalen Carter would have to see me, even if I were his teammate.
I mean, I guess we expect him to be suspended for this game.
No,
but
he was. He is. They announced it today. It's
I must have missed that.
No, it's y'all know how NFL fines are. They're fucking weird. 57,000.
222.
They're fucking weird. And then he suspended this game. So, and I don't know if he suspended this game or they just said he suspended one game. So I've always wondered that. Do they just say hey, you're just suspended for the next game, or do they?
I imagine that they can appeal this and then drag.
No, he's not. He's not appealing it. He's not appealing.
Oh, then he should be suspended for this game immediately.
Okay.
And that came out 3 hours ago.
Yeah, but like I said, I wasn't impressed with either team, just due to the simple fact, the Eagles, their defense isn't what it was a year ago, and that's due to the simple fact they did lose pieces. But I like the way their offense attacked, because when you overcompensate for one guy, that just opens everything up.
So Jalen Carter, sorry to interrupt you. Jalen Carter will play in this game. The league determined that his ejection from the game that in Dallas will serve as his 1-game suspension.
Nah, he needs. I'm not
with that.
For more games. I'm sorry.
So they did not technically suspend him.
Yeah. Then you look at Kansas City, and they just have that. Oh, we can play from behind. We can climb back into the game. It's not going to always work that way. And I said this again yesterday on the Prime. Ever since their Super Bowl losses, the one to Tampa Bay and the one to Philly last year, teams are implementing their own kind of strategy to attack this offense. Tampa did it with mad blitzes. Philly did it with just straight a 4-man rush, keeping a spy in the middle and dropping everybody back in coverage. And Mahomes had no time to do anything. I'm excited for this one. I mean, I want to see really how both teams are going to come out, especially Kansas City, because they did not look good on Friday in Brazil. I previewed this one, David, on Friday before the game. Be on the lookout.
And you can find all of that content on the Daily Blitz.blog as we continue the shameless plug here at Prime Sports World. With that being said, I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles. Sure, I didn't like what I saw of the Philadelphia Eagles, especially with the passing game and Jalen Hurts in the offense. But I think the defense, you lose one of your best defenders at the first snap of the game, not even the first snap, the kickoff. And I think that changes what you wanted to do on defense substantially. I'm taking Philadelphia. They're still a better football team than the Eagles or than the Chiefs. And, losing Xavier Worthy, a lot of question marks about those pass catchers, a lot of questions marks. Just like Travis Kelce's going to have to really step up. Pretty pedestrian game. I know he had a touchdown in that game, but otherwise he was pretty quiet. You're going to be asking a lot from like a Hollywood Brown, from a Juju Smith-Schuster. This running game was completely ineffective in week number 1. You're going to need production out of Isaiah Pacheco. Kareem Hunt's going to have to be an effective player. I just didn't see that in week number 1. Give me Eagles.
Y'all make some great points. It was a sloppy game like I said, a sloppy game for both. The lightning delay in Philly definitely didn't help. Help them, I should say. I'm not liking how the NFL is handling that. The spitting incident. Like, what the fuck do you mean his ejection served as the 1-game suspension?
That's what the league said.
That doesn't make. I'm not questioning you, David. I'm just like, what the hell? Like, that makes zero sense. So, like, are they saying that because of how early in the game it happened?
Yeah.
Oh,
I imagine that's got to be the reason. But
no, none of that. Oh God, there was ever a fucking masterclass on how not to handle shit. The NFL is fucking right there. Like, hey, Jesus Christ, that is terrible. And on the Chiefs side, that Xavier Worthy play, the one he got hurt on, where he's running, like where he ran into Travis Kelce, that ain't looking right either. Like people ain't asking the right, because it's like, bruh, how do you run into him? Like this is y'all. Hey, it ain't like somebody pushed him into Travis Kelce, or some like they routes got jumbled up or nothing. Like no, y'all practice this play. You know where you supposed to be, you know where he's supposed to be, and vice versa, and y'all somehow ran into each other. Some like I'm not I obviously, like, David, you know me, you know me for a long time now. Like, if some don't look right, I'm gonna say it don't look right, and something about that right there ain't looking right.
So, fun fact: Jeff Fisher, head coach. Just we're circling back here for just a second. Jeff Fisher, when he was the head coach of the Rams and Jared Goff, they did not win a game. So,
Yeah, he didn't play, but he won calling plays either. But wait, was he the offensive coordinator too?
I don't know. So his career record without McVay, Jared Goff's is 0-16-1. So yeah, you're right. He's never had a victory without Ben Johnson or Sean McVay. Yeah. So, anyways, sorry.
No, you good. You good. It's for fantasy purposes, I want the Chiefs because Isaiah Pacheco. But if Jalen Carter's playing this game, I don't see how they.
He will be.
I don't. I think that then. I think the Eagles should come down and hand out their own disciplinary issue, but
they're not going.
They're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that.
Yeah, give me the Eagles. Give me the Eagles. I just that what you just told me just literally just ruined what was left of my mood. My Instagram got hacked tonight, so I'm pissed about that. Then you just told me that shit. Like, that's just disgusting. Like, that is not okay. That just ruined the rest of my mood.
Moving on into Sunday night football, we got the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings locking up. This game is in that beautiful stadium. Was it US Bank Stadium there in Minnesota? Obviously, both these teams coming off. FC Minnesota pulled out the victory out of the rabbit out of the hat against the Chicago Bears, and the Falcons lost on kind of a Younghoe Koo missed field goal. Coming off a really kind of struggle in 2024 for Younghoe Koo, who in the past was like automatic. So got questions about that situation. But Vikings Falcons. 2 second-year quarterbacks going head-to-head again for the Minnesota Vikings is J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix Jr. I liked a lot what I saw out of Michael Penix in that loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I thought he played hard. I thought he was being clutch. He made big-time moments and big-time plays. With that being said, I just think Minnesota is still a better football team on paper than Atlanta is. And I'm kind of, as the captain of the Atlanta Falcons bandwagon for many, many years, I'm out on them for this season. Give me Minnesota. TJ.
I'll see how you weren't out on them after they blew a 28-3 lead, bro.
Yeah,
You should
well,
have never had faith in the Falcons ever again, bro. I'm also picking Minnesota. I obviously, like, Falcons fans, they like what they saw out of Michael Penix in the air. That was also against Tampa Bay, whose secondary is, questionable at best, depending on the game. They couldn't run the ball against them. I don't expect that to change in this matchup against the Vikings. Harrison Smith should be back for the Vikings. And this is game 2 for not this is the second game that Jordan Addison's not. Did he get 3 or 6?
Yeah,
He
3
got 3, right?
games. So he's
Okay.
going to be back. He's got 2 more weeks.
I expect they also, like, they ran the ball enough to win the game in Chicago. But that first half, like, well, I ain't even say the first half, like the first
3 quarters, really?
the first 3 quarters, really, Minnesota
couldn't. They had 3 points going into the third quarter.
Right,
Or in the fourth quarter.
They couldn't really run the ball either for the first 3. So, like, there's things to take away from the Bears Vikings game to be happy about, and for other teams to nitpick on whenever you play the Vikings. But again, this is a good team, bro. Like, everything's still the same except J.J. McCarthy, and then they added somebody on their D line too. That was I think it was Javon Hargrave. Like, everything's still the same outside of, like, those couple of pieces.
I mean, they also had Jordan Mason, who actually had more rushing attempts than Aaron Jones in the game against Chicago.
And then, like, and that's one of the things about Kevin O'Connell. He's like, hey, you're working against this team. He's really not. So we gonna give you more carries, and we gonna ride you to this. Give me. I see. Yeah, this the shit I'm talking about. Flex this shit, bro. Like, put the Vikings and the Falcons, Chiefs, Eagles. Flip that.
Yeah,
That's all the
100%.
NFL. That's all the NFL got to do. Just flip it. Just
Christian.
Yeah, I like Minnesota. They're the far more superior football team. I give you 283 reasons why the Falcons won't win this game.
You funny as hell.
Moving on to Monday Night Football. We got 2 matchups here on Monday Night Football this week. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into NRG Stadium, the home of the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud. Last time these 2 teams played was actually 2 years ago. And Christian, do you remember who won that game 2 years ago in an absolute barn burner of a matchup?
Tampa Bay won this in a shootout.
Actually, the Texans won this game in a shootout, 39-37 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This game was also in NRG Stadium. Starting quarterbacks for these 2 teams, Baker Mayfield, C.J. Stroud, respectively. Rashad White, leading rusher for Tampa Bay. Devin Singletary for the Houston Texans. How about a name there? On Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, lead receiver. On the other side, Noah Brown was the leading receiver for the Houston Texans, the tight end or the wide receiver that I don't even think plays on this football team anymore. Christian.
Oh, man. Tampa had to grind that game out the other day. I feel that was a very hard fought win. And then you have Houston on the other side. You couldn't have asked the Texans defense to play better than what they did against the Rams. It was their offense that really struggled.
I mean, if your defense gives up only 14 points in a game, you should win that matchup.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly. I'm going Tampa. because I just have a feeling Ty Bowles is going to bring a lot of exotic heat and pressures and blitzes and stunts to CJ Stroud. And I don't know if this Houston offensive line has really improved. I know it's only one game, but we're about to see. And on top of that, Houston just doesn't do it for me. Just a couple years ago, when they got stuff last year, when they had Stephon Diggs, Houston deserves a seat at the contender table in the AFC. No, they do not. They're not better than Baltimore. They're not better than Buffalo, and they're not better than Kansas City.
I'm also taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, the Houston Texans offense, like especially not being able to get an effective running game without Joe Mixon. So give me Tampa Bay. Texans, the offensive line, and I'm not sure that Tampa Bay is really even going to have to blitz all that much. I think their front four is going to be able to get sustained pressure on CJ Stroud. That offensive line looked terrible against the Los Angeles Rams. And yes, that Rams front seven will make a lot of offensive lines look terrible, but especially in that game, give me Tampa Bay.
No, all funny games. Yeah, give me Tampa. Like that interception that CJ Stroud threw, and they have to really like talk about like recategorizing certain interceptions, like the Browns game where, like you said, like what David said, like when the receiver should have caught the ball twice, and he juggles it and it gets picked off. That should not be at the fault of the quarterback. CJ Stroud threw one where the ball was literally snatched out of his receiver's hands by Kobe Durant.
That interception was bananas.
Like absolutely like cookies snap.
Yeah.
Give me Tampa. And Christian's point, it's just one game. It's just one game. But to David's other point, you held the team to 14 points and lost. You couldn't score double-digit points. I'm going with Tampa. I just think that, oh man. Like, would I be surprised if Houston won? No. But I'm going with Tampa.
I mean, Houston didn't even score a touchdown in that game. I think
No.
they're the only team in week one that didn't at least get a touchdown. Like that's in the era of the NFL that we're in, where scoring is, open up the canisters, right?
I just think like, and I'm glad you brought that up because I got both of y'all here. So like in today's NFL, like you said, like where scoring is what it is. What should be the bare minimum a team should be able to score in today's NFL?
I think your average when the season's over, you should have an average of at least 20 points a game. Anything less than that is unacceptable.
I think it should be at least 24.
I mean, 22, 24, something like that.
I think like if you're an NFL team today, like you should be able to put up bare minimum 24 points a game. That's just me though.
Christian, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, at least 20 to 21. Anything less than that is it's almost embarrassing.
To the final game of the Monday Night Football slate and the final game of week number 2, we have the Los Angeles Chargers going into the Death Star and taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Both these teams coming off impressive victory. I guess semi-impressive victories. The Chargers game beat the Chiefs. That was a very good win and a very impressive game in Brazil. And the Raiders, obviously, they dispatched of the New England Patriots. How do you guys think this one shakes out? Christian, I'll let you have the floor first.
Give me the Chargers all day, any day, and twice on Monday, because screw the Raiders and screw that Raider fan. He can go to hell, and so can the Raiders, too. I'm sick of them. They make me sick. Nauseating fan.
I'm taking the Chargers, but it's more about football reasons than just hate reasons. Spite. I just loved what I saw of their offense in Kansas City and against Kansas City and Brazil. If that's going to be the Chargers' offense this entire season, I mean, that's sign me up for that. I think they're going to be one of the elite units in the NFL. And for that, for Justin Herbert, I mean, that performance must have felt so good. I mean, after he performed the way he performed in that playoff game, a game that many people expected you to win, and for you to kind of not play well in that playoff game and have that be the memory of a lot of people like, oh, that's Justin Herbert. For you to play that well in a primetime slot where there was a million eyeballs on that game, because YouTube gave that game away for free with your YouTube TV. So kudos to Justin Herbert. I'm taking the Chargers. DJ.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers for both football reasons and hate reasons. Like, no, Justin Herbert is one of those dudes. Like, again, you were picked for one sole reason, and it was to battle that guy in your division. And not battle him in fucking September. They want to see you battle him late December, early January. Like, that's where they want to see you go toe to toe with Pat Mahomes. That's where they want to see you match that punch. You got to get to that. That's where you got to get to. And again, if you're the Chargers, you have to be looking at the Dolphins and thinking you're the lucky stars. Like, just to be petty, every draft day, every draft, every start of the season, Charger fans should send Dolphin fans a thank you basket for, like, hey, thank you for giving us Justin Herbert, just to be petty. Like, that's what I'm talking like just to be that kind of petty.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. This has been our week number 1 Monday Night Football recap. We were broken into week number 2 with our preview and predictions of all of the games that are on the slate for Thursday, Sunday, and then Monday. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffman. My co-host, Mr. T.J. Hopkins, and from the Daily Blitz.blog, Mr. Christian Simpson. And gentlemen, what do we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat concert.
Yes, sir. And thank you very much for joining us. If you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'll be back here tomorrow breaking all the fantasy stuff down for you in Fantasy Football Weekly. Izzy should be joining me for that show. So keep an eye out for all that content. We'll be back here. Christian will be back here, I think, on Friday, breaking down college football with Izzy, too, in College Football Showdown. But y'all take care and take it easy. Y'all take it easy. Peace out, guys.
All right, man.